One of the key tasks a developer faces every day is writing code. Actually, it's a lot more than just writing code. After writing the code, you need to test it for correctness. If it's not working correctly, then you debug the code. In later iterations, you might refactor the code to make it easier to understand. Writing code can be done in Notepad or other simple text editors. But most of us want more than that. We want an editor that assists us by including auto-completion tools, syntax checkers, code snippets, and refactoring tools. We want tools that highlight our mistakes and provide visual clues to the state of our current code base. Visual Studio provides a rich set of text editors with all of these features. Visual Studio includes several general language editors. There are editors in Visual Studio for all of the major Microsoft languages. C# and Visual Basic are two of the most popular languages, and both have superb editors available. C++ is seeing a resurgence for device and phone development. Naturally, there is a full-featured editor for the C++ crowd. F# is Microsoft's functional programming language. It too has an editor inside Visual Studio. Visual Studio is extensible, so third parties can create editors and plug them into the IDE. Microsoft has taken that route and created editors for their Iron Python and Iron Ruby languages. Third-party editors like these are not part of the default installation but are easy to add to Visual Studio. When using the SQL data tools, you'll use the SQL editors or the T-SQL ones. The web developer has a number of text editors to enhance the programming grind. The most popular are listed first. There's HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Microsoft continues to embrace newer web libraries and extensions. Visual Studio 2012 adds support for Less and CoffeeScript. When working with markup languages like XML, you'll use the markup editors. There's one for XML, one for XAML, which is used in WPF applications, one for XAML, which stands for Extensible Object Markup Language, and of course, HTML is also a markup language. Visual Studio uses combined editors and designers for some of their languages. In these tools, you can work in the text editor or the designer to generate your code. In this example, you are looking at the ASP.NET Designer and the HTML editor. At the bottom are three buttons for changing the view: the HTML editor-only view, the designer-only view, or the split view. Here is a combination editor for the WPF applications. And finally, this is how a combination editor looks for the phone app. The primary difference here is the vertical split bar and the phone skin shown on the UI in the designer. Naturally, you will want to configure your editors to meet your requirements. This is a configuration editor tool for changing all the fonts in every conceivable window inside Visual Studio. This next dialog is a configuration tool to change the language-specific options. The next step is to see how to configure the editors inside Visual Studio.